Welcome to Business Line's State of the Economy podcast, where you'll find insight, analysis, and the story behind the numbers.
Hi, this is Dalip Singh. For today's edition of State of Economy podcast, we have as guest Director General of Central Industrial Security Force,
Mr. Sheel Vardhan Singh,
who will take us through today's topic, which is emerging challenges to industrial and aviation security. Let me briefly introduce the DG first. A senior decorated IPS officer of Bihar cadre, he has rich experience of policing and national security issues, having handled sensitive assignments during his previous stint as Special Director of Intelligence Bureau. He is also an avid reader and a yoga practitioner. Welcome to the podcast, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, CISF offers security to some 355 establishments, including 66 airports, Delhi Metro, seaports, and other government and private institutions, apart to individuals facing threat. Please take us through the spectrum of services offered by your force.
Thank you so much for that question. It gives me an opportunity to introduce CISF to the listeners. It's a beautiful question asking me about the spectrum of services. But I'll take you back, to the history of this force. This force came into being in 1969 in the wake of a fire incident in HEC Ranchi. And from that nascent stage, today it is a force which is 1.80 lakh strong and still growing. In another 5 years, it'll be 2.30 lakh strong. What this force does is that it protects the economic infrastructure of the country. And within that, the spectrum is the industrial installations, both public as well as some private institutions. We protect the space centers, atomic power plants, nuclear plants, heritage buildings, iconic buildings, airports, mass rapid transport systems. We have a VIP security wing, cutting-edge fire services, and it's perhaps the only force in the world which provides security consultancy services. And if I look at the spatial distribution of the force, you spoke about 355 locations. If you look at the map of India, if you see the coastline, there we are protecting the ports, the atomic and nuclear power stations. You go to the hinterland, we are protecting the mines, even in deep Naxal areas. If you go to the northeast, we are protecting the oil sector. We are also protecting the hydroelectric power plants in J&K. In fact, what I'll say is that the contribution of this force to economic development has been great. I would love that if someone could come forward and quantify a contribution to economic development. It will be historically huge. And why I'm saying this is just to share with the listeners that we are essential partners in taking our economy to $15 trillion.
That's a good wrap-up of CISF, I would say, sir. But I would indulge in slightly a futuristic question, which is do you think CISF should also be offering security consultancy globally because of this varied experience?
Absolutely. What you have said is actually part of a vision of CISF. We are perhaps, as I said earlier, the only security force in the world which does security consultancies. And as a vision for future, we anticipate, and I have reached out to the Indian ambassadors abroad, that we can do consultancies for various iconic institutions, industrial establishments all around the globe. It's a work in progress. I'm very sure this force would be doing the same in the near future.
If I'm not wrong, sir, CISF is already manning and guarding our missions, some of our missions.
Yes.
Would you like to talk about them briefly?
Yes, of course. In fact, not only CISF, other forces also are guarding our missions and embassies abroad. We are guarding our missions at Nepal and Dhaka. However, guarding is one part of it. When I'm talking about consultancy, it is a pre-deployment consultancy, which we can do to, say, the United Nations. They send their forces in various places. Before they put their forces in place, say, in some country, our consultancy team can go, do a study, tell them what are the standard operating procedures they would need there or the equipment. In that sense, we are looking at the future.
Fair enough, sir. Increasing digitization of airport services and use of drones have cascading security implications. A couple of months back, 6 major airports reportedly came under cyber attack from a group of hackers called Anonymous Sudan. Similarly, Jammu Airport, we all know was hit by a drone attack in June of 2021. Is the CISF prepared to deal with cyber and drone emergencies?
Yes, the CISF is very well aware about these anticipated threats, which are now a reality in security domain. And we are actually part of the national security architecture, which is to counter these threats in the cyber domain. So under the guidelines of CERTIN, that is Cyber Emergency Response Team India, we also have a Cyber Crisis Management Committee, and which is plugged into the Ministry of Home Affairs Cyber Crime Management Committee. And in case of cyber attacks, we have at ground level, at cutting edge, all locations have incident response teams so that our responses to such attacks are there. Preventive measures as per the SOPs are followed. Second aspect which you spoke about was drones. Well, CISF uses drones. From the point of view of national security, I would not be able to share the number of drones, but a very high number of drones we are using in more than 34 locations in the country. And these drones are being flown by our personnel, and they're used for surveillance, reconnaissance, patrolling. And we have within us a technology in drone vertical. We are flying the drones, but the issue with regard to drones now is an anti-rogue drone unit has to come up in all the forces, not only CISF. We all have an anti-rogue drone training is going on. However, the anti-rogue drone technology is a work in progress. So as we go, there are only soft kill and hard kill options these days. And as it goes with the work in progress, we are at level with the industry, and we'll keep improving our capabilities in anti-rogue drone domain as well.
So, do you think there is a need to rationalize multiplicity of organization like DGCA, BCS, and AI managing aviation sector? Won't it be better to have one umbrella organization like we have in America, Transport Authority?
That's a very interesting question. What I would say that all organizations here in India have a well-defined role for each one of them. And aviation is a subsector of transport ecosystem. It's not the only sector. So what transport ecosystem comprises? Aviation, ports, national and state highways, inland waterways, cargo movement, land ports. So what we actually need is a whole complete transport ecosystem which works in tandem with each other in terms of seamless security. And this is what is the vision for future and is likely to come in near future.
Sir, an offshoot of the same query is why assign NSG, which is National Security Guard, for anti-hijacking operations at airports? Is the CISF, which has deep-rooted experience about aviation security, not trained to handle sabotage at airports?
Oh, there is a nuance to this question. CISF is a responder to hijacking, but there are two terms here which we should very clearly know the definition. One is anti-hijacking and one is counter-hijacking. Anti-hijacking is essentially preventing hijacking. Counter-hijacking comes into play when hijacking has taken place. It can be on the air side, it can be mid-air. So anti-hijacking, the complete role of CISF is there at the airports. But when a hijacking takes place, then the whole security architecture comes into play. And the crisis management plan is activated, of which CISF, NSG, and host of other agencies are a part. So it is not to say that CISF does not have a role. NSG comes in at the time of counter-hijacking, not anti-hijacking.
Fair enough. Thank you for clarifying that. So, do you think there are security gaps at airports and other installations that need to be addressed?
Well, we provide foolproof security at airports, 100% baggage checks, 100% check of passengers, access control, perimeter security. And to keep a system robust, we regularly conduct brainstorming sessions in which we anticipate threats which would be coming in future. And we also have study all the incidents which are globally happening to make corrections in our systems. Besides this, we have a very, very robust system of mock drills, dummy checks, tabletop exercises, and such sessions. And then on the training side, regular refresher course and keeping up with technology. So I would say that we are at present at par with the industry anywhere in the world. And the record of the CISF says in aviation, as well as this mass rapid transport system, that we have come out in flying colors everywhere.
So, I would slightly digress on this issue and take you to the regional aviation connectivity. What we have seen, the infrastructure at regional airports which are coming up are slightly low in terms of security. Would you agree to that? Or?
Yes, there is always a disparity in infrastructure with various locations, but however, that can be overcome by innovative ways. What we have come up with is a hybrid model of security in which we have divided non-core duties and core duties. Core duties in the regional sector would be done by CISF, and the non-core duties can be done by others. And in this way, we will not be compromising on the security. Besides this, we will be training them, standardizing, and improving the overall security standard of the country.
So, what do you think should be the future roadmap of CISF, especially because perennial intervention of technology is evolving security challenges, which have become more diverse and unpredictable at the same time?
Well, under the leadership of our present Home Minister, all the forces, not only CISF, have made a 25-year vision plan and 5-year roadmap of future. And this roadmap which we have made has at its component technology, manpower, training, anticipated scenarios, and which can be the new sectors and areas where we can go to. And this future force has to be very nimble in terms of skilling itself, in terms of making itself battle ready at a very, very short notice. So all the leaders of all the paramilitary forces, central police forces, are honed to this in a very focused and sharp manner.
So what has been noticed globally is skill shortage rather than fund is an issue in aviation industry. How CISF is honing skills of its employees to handle next generation systems?
Yes, this is an important area because upskilling is very important, and training is of paramount importance in forces and in CISF. We have a National Industrial Security Academy at Hyderabad, which is a center of excellence. Besides this, we have a unique and one of its kind Fire Service Training Institute in Hyderabad. We have 8 aviation security training institutes and 6 recruit training institutes. We train state police forces also. And in these trainings, capacity-based training is given. In this training, technological gadgetry and interface with industry is done. And in this training, aviation security courses are held because this is one area where we have a zero error problem. We cannot just go wrong there. Again, in the fire side also, this is the only institute which takes care of industrial fires. So in terms of training and upskilling, we are well up in the ladder. But yes, it is a process which needs to be upgraded and evolved again and again. So we have a board which sits down, a training vertical which sits down, sees all the needs, does an analysis, and makes every year it hones its plans according to the new needs.
we'll come back to fire vertical of CISF later, but let's focus on manpower. What is the CISF doing to de-stress force to avoid fratricide? Because not long back we had seen you know uh, an incident at the Mumbai airport, if I can recall, a few years back.
That was at Calcutta.
Yeah, sorry, Calcutta.
Yeah. Well, fratricide is actually not a problem of CISF. We do not have very many fratricide cases, but we do have suicide cases, and which I think is actually a social problem as well. We have taken it very seriously, and we have found that causes are financial, they can be medical, and they are interpersonal relationships. So, how to go about it? In our force, we did brought in yoga trainers. We have yoga trainers. So we had a tie-up with Bihar School of Yoga Munger, and our 200 yoga trainers first went there and had a 10-day course on yoga as lifestyle. Not simply yoga as asana, but yoga as lifestyle to integrate it in their lives. And then batches of 100 each started going there, and approximately 1,200 have already visited there. These women and men who went there came back to the force and have held camps for the force personnel. I'm very proud to say that out of the force of 1,80,000, 1,60,000 have been touched by yoga. The feedback of this is immense. Immense in the sense that people have found ways to take care of their stress levels. And one thing uniquely which they have appreciated, which has come in this, and which I would like the listeners to know, maybe they can use it in their personal lives as well, is the concept of digital fast, which we have introduced. In this, personnel himself has to decide how much digital fast he has to do, maybe 6 hours, 3 hours, according to his time. And they have found that it is very de-stressing and they get some quality time with friends and family. So this is the initiative we have taken to bring down the suicide level, the stress levels, improve the general culture and environment in the force.
Sir, do you think there is a need to balance between security and efficiency? Because extensive security apparatus deployment at airports are time consuming and air travel as such are costly. I'm talking about largely Indian middle class and lower middle class. Under this scenario, experts fear that airlines may lose customer base to fast trains like Vande Bharat Express, which are taking less time, has better connectivity, and cost-wise is also works out cheaper than airlines. Your thoughts on it?
Well, my first thing is your question is nice because it is consumer-centric, it's customer-centric. But my perspective in life as a security personnel, having spent 37 years in security, is one sentence: human life is precious. I go out to work to protect human life, and there is no trade-off to human life. We check every passenger, we check every baggage. We are not checking it for the passengers. We are checking it for that one terrorist who, despite all system, wants to come and kill my citizens. We are there for this human life. Yes, efficiency is required, but security, nation cannot progress without security. In fact, on the aside, if I say that in our society, we have 23% women as workforce, and the world has approximately 47%. If we have to increase this number in the economy, then security is required for women to work 24 hours. That's how the number will go up. So what I want to say here is that our slogan is Vinamrata ke saath dृढ़ता. Our conduct would be impeccable, but we will protect each and every person on our watch. No human life should be lost. That is our motto, that is the spirit in which we go there.
So coming to CISF security at Metro, I think which has been well appreciated by people in Delhi. We can talk about Delhi experience. I'm sure it must be at other places as well. Yeah, but what we hear that CISF plans to induct latest technology. We are also hearing that in future we might see robotic canines doing the duty. Is that true? Can you give us a primer on it?
As I told you earlier, that in terms of technology, integrating technology, anticipating technology is essential to keeping good security abreast. Yes, we are thinking in terms of bringing robotic dogs. In fact, what happens at DRDO and in our interface with industry, we take a wish list, we have a brainstorming, we come to know about new technologies. So what we are wanting in near future is that if we could have robotic dogs, and we have canines right now at the airports and the metro, these canines are anti-explosives. But if we bring in some robotic dogs, they can be anti-explosive, anti-narcotic, they can be fire extinguishers, and they can even be used for anti-eve teasing. And we can send them in a nook and cranny to see if there's an unidentified object and such things. And maybe with artificial intelligence, if you next time go to the airport and he sees you after 1 month, he says, "Hello, Dilip, long time no see." So this is the future, and I think we'll all be there in near future.
So as far as CISF offering fire safety coverage, I believe that there are 104 different installation where you are providing these fire safety. Do you think with the changing urban landscape, is CISF has included in its master plan the growing high-rise building, different scenarios coming in, so that you are adequately prepared to handle a fire emergency?
A very good question. This is a very important issue, and lot of information and education about this needs to go out. We specialize in industrial fire and prevention and protection in that domain, and also in disaster management and evacuation. What we have done at a macro level is that we have identified 100 cities in the country where we go and we go to the fire brigade services, do the gap analysis of the equipment, training analysis, and then tell them what equipments to buy and get these people to our training academy at Hyderabad and train them into fire services. This way, we intend lifting the fire safety standards of the country. We have already done 5 cities, and we have a complete plan to cover all the 100 cities in the country in the fire domain. Besides this, under NDMA, National Disaster Management Authority guidelines, we are making evacuation drills in cities. And these evacuation drills are based on the main profile of the city. If the city is, say, a city where there are industries, so the main profile can be, say, a chemical fire or something, or it can be on nuclear, radiological, or biological emergency, or it can be with regard to a cyber emergency. So these evacuation drills in which all the forces, all the stakeholders of the city come together, they are done. After that, the mock drill is held on this, and then all the gaps are studied, and we finalize an evacuation drill for the city, which includes how the citizens will move, where they'll go, which hospitals they go, and this will be improved from time to time. So in this way, we are going in a very, very huge way to the cities and suburban cities of the country to improve the fire safety and disaster mitigation.
So I know this might not be part of your charter, but definitely I would like to pick up your brains on. See, now what we are witnessing is a large scale of forest fires happening in India. and which is damaging our biodiversity. And we don't see a single entity looking after, because local authorities don't have wherewithal, neither nor expertise. Do you think there is a possibility for CISF to venture into this area as well?
Possibility, yes. But right now, I would say the forest department should have a specialized wing for forest fires. For they know the forest well, its flora and fauna. They know the fault lines. They make the drainages in the forest. They make the fire lines in the forest for how they can actually curtail the fire. We as CISF would like to train them, help them, give our infrastructure for them to improve themselves. But personally, as a professional, I feel it's the forest department. We should come as a specialized wing, vertical within it, and train it well. This is an area which is very important for them.
Before concluding our podcast, I would like to have one last question. So, CISF is also a cash cow for Ministry of Home Affairs. When you provide security to a private industry, you get sort of money out of it. When you offer consultancy, you charge for that. Can you give us a sense of revenue which CISF earns annually?
First, I would like to say I do not like the word cash cow. It's a slang which doesn't go well in my lexicon. But yes, I'll give you a sense. CISF is a very unique force in the sense the client pays for our services. And what he pays is according to a scale which has been fixed by the Ministry of Home Affairs. And the money he pays goes to the Consolidated Fund of India. It doesn't go through CISF. We provide security. It goes to the Consolidated Fund of India. We raise the bills and it goes to that. Now, while I cannot put a finger on the amount of money, what I can say is that 85% of our expenditure we recoup through this method. And I think it's a very good method. And in future also, in this world where security becomes a very important factor in economic development, I think it should be factored in as a cost. Till now, it has not been factored in as a cost. It's taken more like a sovereign duty. I would say that.
Thank you so much, sir, for taking time out and joining us at the State of Economy podcast.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure joining.